Healing is when you take something that used to be a source of suffering and transform it into something that is a source of wisdom and creativity.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good afternoon, Karen Anderson. Previously, episode 831 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 3 years, 1 month, 15 days, 22 hours, and 15 minutes since we last recorded that conversation. That was then. This is now. How are you doing today?
I am good. It is a warmish day here in Connecticut, so it's not super cold.
All right. So what's the update? Last time, the big topic was daughter-mother relationship, right? Mother-daughter relationship. How have things evolved for you?
Well, the book that I had written in 2015 sold 130,000 copies. That was a book called The Peaceful Daughter's Guide to Separate.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and as a result, I ended up getting a literary agent and a traditional publisher. I have revised and expanded that book that came out in 2015, and the new book, which is called Difficult Mothers, Adult Daughters, a guide for separation, liberation, and inspiration, that came out in March of 2018. And next week, next Tuesday, my next book is coming out, and it is called The Difficult Mother-Daughter Relationship Guide. A guide for revealing and healing toxic generational patterns. So it's bringing mothers who want to do the work into it as well.
Wow. How does it feel looking back from now to then to see what this has grown up to be?
It's very gratifying. I have in the years that since we've spoken, my work has I see it evolving from being about just one mother and one daughter to being, sort of that micro view to a more macro view to see just how the difficult mother-daughter relationship is a reflection of some things, some not nice things that have happened in the world, or that are happening in the world. Patriarchy, white supremacy, misogyny, etc. My work has shown me that these are systemic issues that are affecting mothers and daughters.
Of course, as you start to dig into these things, the thing that's connected to you, your brand, right? You start to uncover some amazing connections, don't you?
Yes, and it's validating, and it's exciting, but it's also huge and sometimes overwhelming.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I'm glad that you went the route of getting a literary agent and not just only self-publishing. Not that there isn't value there, but it just opens up a space for you to focus on the content and bringing value. Is that accurate?
Yes, definitely. It's nice having a publisher that does a lot of the work. I mean, there's still a lot of work I have to do too, but the reach is that much greater, and it's the resource. It's a great resource for sure.
Have you seen the connection with women who have this difficult relationship and other health issues?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, another thing that I have really delved into without realizing that it would, that I needed to, is just the whole concept of trauma and what trauma is and how trauma plays out in our lives, and the trauma of the difficult relationship. Trauma has a lot of health issues associated with it, and so seeing the connection of what trauma actually is and how we can become more resourced as women, as humans, is definitely part of it.
It seems to me that the healing process, which many people speak of, how to heal, and it is possible to heal, but from my experience in conversations, it seems that it's a lot longer than just 90 days or 7 weeks or 7 days. Or have you seen that as well with these wombs that that individuals incur or suffer from. And of course, not just physical wounds, but the emotional wounds.
Yeah, they're totally I think most the thing that's gratifying to me is to see that trauma is also focused on emotional, things. It's not just about being in a car accident or in a war. It's an emotional situation as well. And yes, healing is a lifelong thing. I mean, I'm 57 and I'm still doing my own work. And I think it's all sort of a matter of the attitude with which you approach it, which, the way I like to say it is that I get to do this. I get to continue to heal. And there are times when I'm kind of like, I kind of wish this was done with, but it's a privilege in so many ways to be able to do it, to heal like that, and to have the attitude that, it's something I get to do.
How long do you think it takes, though? And I think answering this question really helps an individual give themselves grace. And that's the reason I'm asking. How long someone who's having a difficult relationship with their mother, specifically as a young lady or a woman, how long do you think these wounds take to heal?
Oh my goodness. I don't have an answer. I think it's as individual as we all are. It's again, about the resources that you have, about your willingness to do it. If I said that it takes years, I mean, it's taken me years. It's an ongoing process. I don't think you're ever done. But as I said, it can be a fulfilling and positive process. It doesn't mean that you have to suffer and I guess the way I also look at healing, I have a definition that I like to use, and I think we heal in layers. And so the way I define it is that healing is when you take something that used to be a source of suffering and transform it into something that is a source of wisdom and creativity. So, it's not like it never happened, but you have changed your relationship to it. And so you can heal, like as you go, you heal parts of yourself. And so, it's not like we're sitting around suffering for the rest of our lives because we're not healed, but we are, as I said, sort of transforming the way we look at the wound.
Yeah, let's put it into real life. So you had a scenario where your earliest childhood memory was your mother and father quarreling while you were at the dining table. Well, I'm not sure if it's a dining table, but for some reason I'm thinking dining table, right?
You have a very good memory, or took some really good notes. Yes.
All right. So it was that. And how have you used that experience then to heal? Just to give an example to those listening.
Yeah. So, I have taken a really intimate look at both my parents' lives. My father died almost 10 years ago. And, I have explored my mom's life, my mom's life, and, who she was when she got married, and the experiences. She got married at age 19, so she was young, and I have come to understand the circumstances, and as an adult now, I can see that young girl who was getting married was doing it for all the wrong reasons. It ended up being a good thing because I was born as a result, and so the way I've been able to heal that pain is to say, you know what, maybe the only reason my parents got together was to have me. Was to bring me into the world, and if that's the case, that's, there's the wisdom, right?
I love it. In the midst of everything, seeing what life is, experiencing death, how do you have that conversation, the conversation that you could die today or tomorrow?
It's funny you should say that, because the older I get, I was just telling somebody this recently, that if I were to die tomorrow, I'm not ready to, I don't want to, but if I were, I would be okay with the contribution that I've made in the world.
That's great.
And I don't think I would have said that a couple of years ago. But Yeah, I'm not ready. I still have things I want to do. But yeah, I'm good if that happens.
Well, my friend, I'm telling you that I'm glad that you're still alive and I got to have this conversation with you. For those that are listening, where's the best place for them to check out the books or even connect with you?
My website, which is KCL Anderson.com.
Wonderful. Well, again, Karen, this is a pleasure, one which I treasure. Before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yeah, just that, anytime you take an opportunity to look inside, you don't know what you're going to find. But, that self-reflection is a very precious gift you can give yourself.
Well, there we go. Karen Anderson, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.